Hey guys, we're 1-4 here again, and this is my deck profile on the deck that I ran at YCS Philly. I did end up running Dino Rabbit. Drew and I were discussing what decks we were going to be running, and we decided that the decks with the two best chances of winning YCS Philly were Dino Rabbit and Chaos Dragons. He was more comfortable with Chaos Dragons, I was more comfortable with Dino Rabbit, and that's what we ended up deciding on, and we both called right. If you look at the top 4 decks of YCS Philadelphia, 3 and 4 were Dino Rabbit, 1 and 2 were Chaos Dragons. So we both made good choices, especially him with all the decks we decided on for his deck. It clearly got there, coming in second at his second YCS. But here's my deck list. I was very happy with my deck list, and it's fairly standard, but I will explain some of the choices I made in here. It's obviously Dino Rabbit, so first you got yourself your 3 Rescue Rabbits, 3 Cabazals, and your 3 Sabersaurus. It's Dino Rabbit. I don't need to explain this, and I'm not going to. 3 Jiraguiba. Jiraguiba is great because he's relatively big, and he does not need to survive or send the monster he kills to the graveyard. So either way, you're gonna, like, if you hit a Raikou, this guy's gonna die, but you're gonna get another one in its place. Like, Guiba is I think Guiba is one of the more important cards that Dino Rabbit should run. Next, it was 3 Effect Veilers. These Effect Veilers good against a lot of the decks right now. The only deck it really isn't good against is Chaos Dragons, because they obviously don't, like, it can hit a couple of their cards, but it isn't super important. Like, I guess it hits stuff like Tour Guide and Lila and stuff, but the monsters they really care about, they don't give 2 shits. Obviously Tour Guide and Sangan. Tour Guide's kind of really good, and 1 Gorse, because Gorse saves your everything. The monster lineup is, like, there aren't a lot of, like, tech things like Spirit Reaper, or, like, I was messing around with, like, Spirit Reaper, Neospatian, Grand Mole, like some of the monster lineups, and I kept ending up with, like, monsters that I was like, man, I wish this was like a Guiba or something else that was part of my Dino engine. So I figured I'm not going to use my monsters to try to put my techs in. I'm going to use my magic and trap cards, because since I can use more of them per turn, I don't accidentally, like, waste a normal summonable card. So that's why my monster lineup is fairly I would say simple, but anyways, the magic lineup is obviously your staples, like staples, 1 Pot of Avarice to put things back into the deck, 1 MST, and then I was trying 1 Night Beam, and it was working really, really well. A lot of people were using Compulsory, because obviously you put back the dinos back into their extra deck, or you know what Compulsory does. And Night Beam, like, I got a lot of really clutch Night Beams where it, like, hit chainable shit like Compulse or like MST and shit, and you can't chain a Night Beam. There was never a situation where I was like, man, I wish this was an MST. I mean, yeah, it's essentially not, I was happy with this choice. Do I say Night Beam is better than MST? No. They both hit different things, but I was happy with both of them. Next, I was running 3 Forbidden Lances. I think this card is really important in Dino Rabbit. The lowering your opponent's monster by 800 is really important. The ability to protect your own monsters from mass destruction is also really important. Like, if you have a Dolka up and they decide to do something cute to get rid of it, if you can lance it to protect it. So that's good. Next, I was maining 2 Forbidden Chalices. Drew and I decided for me to main these Chalices, and he ended up signing them because he liked this idea. Chalice is a great card because it's like Effect Veiler. So if you Chalice Rabbit, it won't get its effect. You can still banish it, obviously, but you know, whatever. Also, it has great damage step implications. So like if you attack into a Spirit Reaper, you can Chalice the Reaper, negate its effect, and be able to kill it. Also, if you need to, it does have the ability to raise your monster's attack by 400 at the cost of its effect. So like if your Logia is spent, you can raise it to a good 2,800, and that can get you over a lot of things. And then I was maining 1 Soul Taker. Soul Taker, obviously, it's smashing grounds, but it causes Light Pulsar Dragon to miss its timing and the Shining. But I wasn't so worried about heroes as I was about Chaos Dragons. This card is great. The 1,000 life points that it gains is irrelevant because of how big the monsters you are slam into your opponent. But yeah, Soul Taker I think is significantly better than Smashing Ground right now because you can choose what you want to blow up, and because it causes cards like Pulsar Dragon to miss their timing. So, Magic lineup. Traps. It's pretty simple. 2 TTs. Great. 1 main deck Chain Disc. Card helped me out like crazy. Any matchup against Insectors. Great. You can pull their Hornets or their Dragonflies out of play. Dino Rabbit, you can pull the Rabbits or the Tour Guides out of play. There's a lot of cards that this thing hits. If you're facing Heretics, the Asset Dragon they summon the first, it drops to 1,000 so you can Chain Disc it. The monster that comes out, Chain Discs it. This card hits when they bring out their Darkness Metal Dragon off of Atom, you can Chain Disc the Darkness Metal Dragon. It's really a good card to main deck now. Sorry, I'm shaking. The table's a little bit iffy. Bottomless. Obviously gets rid of the bigger monsters. My goal here was to be able to get rid of as many monsters as I could before the side to have an advantage game 1. 2 Warnings and Judgment. And then 1 Starlight Road. So yeah, that's my trap lineup, and that was my main deck. It ended up being very consistent. Sometimes you draw shitty. Sometimes your opponent has every answer. Sometimes you get OTK'd by Ancient Gear Gajilotron Dragon and Limiter removal. It happens. My extra deck, 1 AOJ Catastor, because any of your effect failures plus any of your 4 stars equals him. Actually ruined the day. One of my opponent's Dino Rabbits ruined his day with this. Stardust Dragon. This actually isn't my Stardust Dragon. This is Drew's. I had him borrow my Ghost Rare once signed by Greg Abbey for good luck for the top 32. And clearly, good luck works. And his ridiculous amount of skill also applies. Then, of course, you got yourself your Tour Guide targets. The broken set of rank 3s. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Okay. And without getting glare. Okay, Zen Mines, 2 Leviaires, Brilliant, Leviathan, and Acid Golem. I'm running 2 Leviaires, obviously, because I need to be able to bring back anything, and occasionally you will need the second Leviaire. Tour Guide targets. Really good cards. Really good options. Maestroke. Maestroke is really good. Being able to flip your opponent's monster face down. Being able to protect himself. I mean, he's only 18, but he does have 23 defense, and that isn't exactly anything to laugh at. I was maining 1 Steel Swarm Roach. Roach, I'm surprised a lot of Chaos Dino Rabbit decks were not putting in their extra deck. You have the room for him, and he's such a good card against the Dino Rabbit, against the Chaos Dragon matchup. he can negate the summon of almost all of their monsters. Like, all their Chaos-like monsters are inherent special summons, so you can negate them with Roach. With Roach on the field and, like, Dolka or Logia, you pretty much prevent them from doing anything. Drew even told me that, like, he was glad that more people were running the Papal Operative and not the Roach, because he said, like, Papal Operative you can get around Roach, sometimes you really can't. Utopia because he's good, and then your Dino Rabbit targets 2 Logias and 2 Dolkas. That was my extra deck. Side deck: 2 Electric Virus for the mirror match and against Chaos Dragons. Really good card. 2 DD Crows. MST. It's for those times where you know your opponent's going to be playing a lot of face-up cards. Like, if I was playing against Chaos Dragons, I side out the Night Beam for the second MST, because you want to stop them from their Future Fusion, because Future Fusion is a win condition for that deck. It's absurd. You pull up to probably about, like, 7 cards from their deck. That's kind of amazing. Also, like, if you're playing against Dark World, something that uses a lot of face-ups, it's good. The second Soul Taker. The second bottomless for the decks that Chain Disc doesn't hit or isn't good against. Second Chain Disc for the decks that bottomless isn't that spectacular against. Fiendish Chain for those effect-heavy decks. Mirror Force against Chaos Dragons and Dino Rabbit and Dark Worlds. I just didn't have the room to main deck it. I didn't want to get myself too far over 40. 1 Light Imprisoning Mirror, Chaos Dragons, and Heretics. I really wasn't that concerned about the Heretic deck. I was significantly more concerned about the Chaos Dragons. I knew I could take down Heretics. I didn't know I probably knew I couldn't take down Chaos Dragons unless I sided for them. 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors for all the dark decks and for Chaos Dragons. And then 2 Macrocosmos. That was the deck. Hope you guys liked it. Look forward into a couple of days, and you should be seeing my exclusive interview with Andrew Martin. Anyways, Aura 1 through 4, signing out.